Welcome to the Wild Hope Rising podcast. We're your hosts, Sunny Kane and Tammy Clotton, and we're so glad you stopped by. We want to help you be wildly you, and believe it or not, you're already her. We invite you to gather around the table with us. We'll help you move through your wilderness season, no matter how you got here. So lean in, let's ignite your purpose and discover what you're made of. Buckle up, my friend. It's time for Wild Hope. Well, hey, ladies, welcome back to the podcast. Tammy and I were just listening to our intro song. And believe it or not, when we created it, we just threw it out there and we didn't have it memorized this morning. It was kind of fun to listen to it, right?
It was. We have some fun, silly things, of course, like always. And it was, we want to help you discover what you're made of.
We want to help you be wildly you.
Yes.
I mean, we don't take ourselves too seriously.
In all honesty, we really do want to help with those things. So that's why we're here this morning.
Exactly. And we're in kind of a funny mood because you know when you don't get any sleep, and I'm not saying I didn't get any sleep, but follow me for a minute. You know when you're so overtired, laughter is what happens. You just get that like, I can't quit laughing. Well, Tammy and I are both coming in from weeks that were a little like that. It's not that we had no sleep. It's just that, you just can't make it up. What did we walk through in our weeks?
Well, I think that you have to speak for yourself because I am going on very little sleep today because of a family medical emergency. So, yes.
So you really didn't have sleep. I had sleep this week, but I'm telling you, it's a week that left me exhausted. So we're coming in being silly. And I want to say something, when we're doing this podcast, it's really easy when you're listening to a podcast or watching something online and somebody is talking about a topic that reaches into your life. It's really easy to listen to that person and think, man, goodness, they've figured this out and I haven't. We're on the same playing field, ladies. We are in the same boat. We are maybe we've taken steps that are just a little bit ahead of you. If we're mentors, if we're guides, it's not because we are having it all together. Sometimes we're working it out in real time as we come to you. And this is one of those weeks.
It's definitely our desire to be real and authentic and let you know that we're women too, with lives and families and jobs and all of the things just like you. And we're really just seeking to show up and respond to what God is calling us to and hope that it's encouraging and inspiring to you to also do the same thing.
Yeah. And if this is your first time here, you're going to find, we're not trying to bring you polish and pizzazz. We're trying to just be chicks that you can sit around a table with. Yeah. We serve a community of women, and we hope that you'll consider being a part of it. We are women who have a mind to grow, to do the work. We are women who, we don't feel like we have it all together. We're not here to compete with other women. We're not here to actually point you towards worldly success, 10 steps to build your personal kingdom. We're here, honestly, I'll speak for myself. I'm here because I love Jesus and he has completely transformed my life. And life can be super hard. And if I didn't have him, honestly, I don't know what I'd do. And so I'm here because I want you, women, to know, even if you struggle believing that there is a God because your life has been so hard, I want you to know God is urgently present. And our prayer is always, my prayer is that maybe something that we speak to would get you to a place where maybe, just maybe, you would consider, what if there really is a God and what if he really does love me? So, I mean, that's my heart here.
Yeah, of course. And like you, that is my heart. And I want, ladies, I'm looking you in the eye. I want you to feel seen. I want you to know that God sees you, he cares for you, and he is not someone who's just sitting up there going, get it all right and figure it out. But he's like, no, I'm in this with you. I have a plan. Let's work together for your health, healing, wholeness, freedom, all of that. And he is way more invested in our health and freedom and wholeness than we are sometimes.
Yeah.
And I love that he continues to pursue us and call us forward to all that he created us to be. And so, yeah, it's my passion to help you discover who you are and what he made you for, and then to step into it.
Yeah. And I'm going to give you a sidebar challenge today, ladies, that has nothing to do with where we're going, but everything to do with who we are as Wild Hope Rising. See, your life holds value. It does. And you are seen and known by God, like Tammy just said, and we want you to know that. But there are people that are all around you. There are women that you pass by and they're in the coffee shops in the world. They're sitting next to you in the church pew if you happen to sit in a pew. I don't know why we say pew. Hardly any churches have pews anymore. Anyways, if you're sitting in the chair next to you at church, or perhaps they're in a workout group with you, they are just passing you in the grocery store. And we want a community of women that we're not just invested in growing ourselves, but we're invested of, I don't just show up on Wild Hope Rising so that I can be seen and known and heard and loved. I show up so, yes, I can have those things, but also so that I can go out into a world that desperately needs Jesus, and I can help other people know that they are seen and known and valued. And so I want to encourage you, your tiny little whatever you have in this season of your life. And Tammy and I today, sometimes we come in with a giant cup ready to serve and pour out. Today, we might just have like a tiny little, think of those little communion cups, or you could say a shot glass, whatever,
Right.
Pick however you
Either
do
one.
it. We have a smaller cup today, but what I will tell you is with that, we encourage you, whatever you have today, to just find a moment, even if it's offering a smile to somebody. Look for someone who needs hope. And you know what makes it wild? The fact that you slowed down out of your own agenda to see someone else, that's what makes it wild. That's one of the things that makes it wild. So let's do that. Let's be that community today. And with it, we will change the world.
Right.
Right?
One small act at a time.
Yes, completely. And so buckle up, friend.
Yeah.
It really is time for Wild Hope, okay?
Yes.
We are unleashing you today. Well, today, Tammy and I, we are in a new series. If you are just joining us, we invite you to go back over the past several weeks. And we are calling this Fresh Sound, New Ground. And we want you to take new ground in your life, whatever that looks like. Now, it's going to look different for all of us. And we know that if you're going to take new ground, you have to have a new sound or a new perspective. And this week, we want to talk about, forward movement in our lives. It requires participation, right? And we're not mannequins, it turns out, right? We're not mannequins.
Sure.
I don't know. Sometimes it would be easier.
I always want to be a mannequin in a store. This is just a little clue into who I am. I want to go and be a mannequin. And then when you walk by and you think that maybe is real, just pause long enough and then just peek at you. Someday I'm going to do this.
And scare the pants off someone.
Yeah.
Really great. Yes. Well, and it reminds me of I just sidebar here, but again, this gives you an indicator of who we are. There were these movies called Mannequin, literally. I'm aging myself here, but there was this one called Mannequin 2 on the Move. And this guy hollers at this woman. It's basically a story of a mannequin that comes to life. And by the way, Tammy and I are calling all the mannequins out there today to come to life. So I'll leave that picture to you. Forward movement. We're going to call the mannequins to life today. But in this, he says, so she gets called to life. She's going down the street. She's like, I think in New York City or something. He's like, hey, baby, where you been all my life? And she says, frozen. I think it is the funniest thing. It is so stupid. But anyways, girls, let's thaw out today. So, there is this truth that sometimes as women, we say we want to step into something new. We want that new ground. And we say, hey, I'm really ready to move forward. That's it. I'm ready. I'm raising my hand. And maybe it's because you're ready to take that next step toward your goal or dream or committing to exercise, eating healthy. Maybe it's a relationship. You want to initiate reconciliation. There's a boundary that you need to set. And you say, I'm ready for forward movement here. Or maybe it's even something more practical, paying down debt, organizing finances, cleaning out the clutter in your life, creating systems. I mean, this is a vast variety of things that you may want to move forward in.
Yeah.
It's a bunch. But we say we want the forward movement, but let's be honest, sometimes we hesitate to step into our own progress. And we might have that longing and that desire, but we don't have any movement. We have awareness, but we lack action. And we like to complain about our stuckness. I'm so stuck. I'm stuck right now. It's just a season. I'm so stuck. Or I see a lot of women now saying, and please don't hear me dismissing these seasons, but I think that sometimes the seasons we find ourselves in become a dwelling place that we believe is just our reality. And you've been fooled into becoming a mannequin when you blame midlife for the reason that you can't take any forward steps in your life.
And not just midlife, but even if you have kids and because they're the focus right now, then you can't do your part, right? Or because your husband won't cooperate or whatever, or because you can't advance in this career, somebody else got your position or whatever. There's so many things.
Or I have this health condition. And again, we are not dismissing those things are real. We are not the kind of community that says, pick yourself up by your bootstraps and, put on your big girl panties. Although sometimes you need to be told that. Sometimes I need to give myself that talk. But the reality is that we say we want this while we're stuck. And sometimes we have to ask ourselves at some point, am I willfully choosing to stay in this wilderness? I mean, that's just a real question. Sometimes we didn't choose our way into it, but are you willingly staying there? I mean, Tammy, have you ever found yourself in this dynamic in your life? And I mean, probably only once with you. But.
Oh, yeah, totally. As a matter of fact, I had to narrow it down to one because I was thinking of several, But one of the things that I just kept feeling like I should bring to the table today is that my husband and I, in our early years of marriage and even middle into it, we had both been raised in traditional homes, but with lots of violence, actually. And so it placed a fear in me of talking about some of the really important things of how to be equal partners and how to address things when they came up. And I remember just being in that place of just feeling like a victim, like feeling stuck in, like, we're never going to be, I want this, I have this picture in my head, but we're never going to be there. I just have to deal with it and accept my fate. And I chose this and all of those kinds of things. And I would tell myself all of those things. And God kept saying, I have more for you. I want more for you. And so, but in order to get that more, you have to have some uncomfortable or really hard conversations. And I'm going to show you how, and we'll take it one step at a time. And I am thankful to say that in cooperating with him and participating in those steps that he was asking, that we have more of an equal partnership than we have ever had. And it is such a relief. And we get to share a joy that we never would have had we not done that hard work.
It's so relatable. I mean, I think that a lot of women out there could have mindsets or belief systems that you grew up with that you find that instead of being necessarily your belief, they become your barrier. They become the thing that you hold yourself captive by and you blame as the excuse to not do maybe what God has told you to do. So I think we can all relate to what you're talking about, Tammy. It might sound different in our lives. For me, I feel like, I walked through a season where I had very real life. And part of it, I mean, I can tell the story many different ways, but whether I was pushed into the wilderness or whether I chose myself there, it doesn't really matter. What matters is what happened when I found myself in the wilderness. It had done its purpose for a while. And I think that God had me there on purpose. But then I started setting up camp in the wilderness. And while I wanted to blame my life, the very hard things that we were walking through, and they were real. In fact, a lot of friends in my life gave me a pass because they knew it really was hard.
Yes.
But I was kind of, for lack of better words, BSing myself because I really was avoiding standing up because I was afraid of the spiritual warfare that it took to step into doing the things that God called me to do. Because I had been in that lane before. I knew the cost of stepping out in what he's called me to. And I didn't want to pay the price again. And I don't mean that in a, I guess, sort of like a victim way of like, oh, I don't want to pay the price of spiritual warfare. I mean, honestly, I knew the cost and I knew it was hard. And I knew God would give me what I needed, every tool to equip me, but I just wanted to avoid it altogether. And I had to acknowledge, okay, at what point am I going to quit allowing my lips to say, I'm stuck, I'm so stuck, I can't move forward, God's just not calling me, he's not using me, I mean, has he forgotten me? I had to say, wait a minute, at what point am I going to acknowledge that I am willfully choosing to stay in this wilderness? And, fast forward, Wild Hope Rising, here we are, girls. So
here we
and
are.
I'm telling you, was I right that saying no was an avoidance of warfare and stepping in would invite it into my life? That was a true thing. I wasn't imagining it, but God is equipping me as I've stepped out of that wilderness. So all of this to say, Tammy and I both know what it feels like to want to change and to still stay put. We know what it feels like to be mannequins, to feel like you're just there and you just, you're not really participating. But the truth is, forward movement requires our participation. And we don't move forward by default. It's not just going to come one day and you're suddenly going to move forward. It's about a decision. And what we would say is, girls, maybe today is time to step into your own progress. That's really what we're talking today. And we couldn't think of a better way to do that than the story in John chapter 5, right?
Yes. Tell us the story, Sunny. Tell us.
Let's get into it, girls.
Yeah.
And we want to invite you, grab your Bible. Maybe not today. I mean, while you're following along, if you don't have one, get YouVersion, and you can just get a Bible app on your phone. And this is worth reading. Even if you're not a Christ follower, I'm going to tell you, go read this story. We can learn from the stories of others, but I believe this one is powerful and life-changing. And because God's word is living and active, sharper than a double-edged sword. And you know what? It really does transform your life. So with that, John chapter 5, verse 2 is where we're going to start. And it says, "Now there is in Jerusalem by the sheep gate a pool, which is called in Hebrew Bethesda, having 5 porches. In these lay a great multitude of sick people, blind and lame, paralyzed. They were waiting for the moving of the water. For an angel went down at a certain time into the pool and stirred up the water. Then whoever stepped in first after stirring of the water was made well of whatever disease he had. Now a certain man was there who had an infirmity 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had already been in that condition a long time, he said to him, 'Do you want to be made well?' The sick man answered him, 'Sir, I have no man to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up. But while I am coming, another steps down before me.'" And we're going to pause there. There's a lot happening here.
There is.
I'm going to just point out some notices, then I'd love to hear yours, Tammy. A few things. Bethesda, in and of itself, this was not a quick fix place. It was a place of longing, of waiting, of disappointment. It was a community of people who they were the overlooked. Bethesda was a place that was full of people that were waiting for movement in their life, waiting for healing or waiting for mercy. And I thought today when I was reading that, where it talks about in these lay a great multitude, and I thought, isn't it interesting that we often hang around other people who are just as stuck as we are?
Ooh.
Why do we do that?
Again?
Yeah, we often hang around other people who are just as stuck as we are. And why do we do that?
Oh, Man, I think that part of the reason that we do that is because we want uh, to be, I'm trying to think of the word. It's like commiserate with other people, you know? We need them to say, validate us and what we're thinking and what we're feeling and all of that kind of thing. And so we kind of collect other people that have similar stories, that kind of thing, so that we can feel that sense of validation.
Mm.
So I think
And
that's one of
even,
the reasons.
and maybe even while you were talking, my mind went, yeah, commiserating. And also maybe we want the people in our lives to give us permission to stay stuck.
Mm,
So by looking at their lives, we feel like we have permission because they're staying stuck too. So you know what? We can all just stay stuck in Mannequin Village.
for sure. For sure. The other thing that I noticed here at the pool is that it was a place of competition because they were all competing for that first little wave in the pool, right? So that they could be healed. And so I was just thinking about that, like, oh my gosh, that started there. Even in their stuckness, there was competition.
That makes me think, I didn't think of it until you just said this, but then it must have been a place of scarcity. Because if you think that somebody else can get it, then it means there's only enough for them. And how often do we bring that thinking? If somebody else has it, I can't.
Yeah.
It's a place of scarcity. Now, another interesting thing, it says, Jesus saw and knew. Okay. He saw this man that had been there for 38 years and he knew. Now, I'm just kind of a geek. And so I kind of looked at the Greek root of those. I will not go here too long, but the Greek there, saw, is this word eidon. And if I'm pronouncing it wrong and you are a scholar, just forgive me. You know what I'm talking about here. Eidon. And the Greek word there for knew is oida, which I love. He oided him. It's so cool. I'm going to say it from now. But what this actually means that he saw and he knew in the Greek is this is not a casual knowledge or observation. He didn't just look at him and go, oh yeah, oh, that guy's been here for 38 years. I can just tell by his condition. No, this isn't just observation. He is carrying a sense of knowing him inwardly, perceiving with full understanding. And this doesn't mean he just noticed him. It means he understood him and his condition, the duration of it. So Jesus saw and knew the whole story.
Yes. Yes.
So
And
good.
yes, so good. And that's what I was saying earlier, that he is so invested in us and our story and who he created us to be and our health and our healing. He sees it all. He empathizes with it all. And he still calls us forward.
Yeah. And I think that sometimes we like to think of our Jesus. I'm just going to be honest. We like to think of Jesus sometimes just like, and I think there's a time I'm not going to belabor this because if we go here, we'll digress. But sometimes in my life, in my wilderness, in my excuses of that wilderness, I like to imagine that Jesus too liked me stuck. He wanted to live in that little dwelling place with me and stay stuck forever, that he had just invited me out to this place. But the more that I contend with what scripture actually says, in that we do have a calling to grab a hold of his hand. He's always calling us to something, towards something. And is there seasons that we wait with the Lord, that he comes in and whispers and stays close? Yes. But there is a forward movement. He brings us comfort, not just so that we can stay in the wilderness. He brings us comfort. There is a so that we might go pour that comfort. There is always a forward movement in the kingdom of God.
Yeah.
And our theology might need to have a little bit of a V8 moment. You know, those commercials where you get bopped for not having your V8, right? Of like, hang on a minute. Yes, Jesus wants to comfort you, and forward movement is a part of the kingdom of God, period.
Well, one of the things that I love too is this little phrase that we have used in the recovery zone, and that is he meets you right where you're at and loves you enough to not let you stay there.
Yes. So that, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So that. What else do you notice here, Tammy, just quickly before we get into all the mindsets?
One of the things that I noticed too is he had a really disruptive question. And that was, do you want to be well? Do you want health? Do you want wholeness? Do you want freedom? He asked that, and he didn't just assume. He's a gentleman. He's going to invite us into that, but not force us in.
Mhm.
And so I noticed that, and he is so intentional about that, and like looks you dead in the eye. Do you want to be well? And a lot of
And
times
it's,
if
yeah.
we're honest, we're like, I'm not ready for that.
I'd rather be in the mall shopping. I'd rather, have this beer. I'd rather, I mean, you
You
know,
name it. Yeah.
I mean, insert vice of choice.
Right.
We say, I want this freedom while also holding on to whatever is killing us, whatever is keeping us stuck. I love the question.
Yeah.
And
then
the
another
answer.
thing. Oh,
Go ahead.
yeah. Another thing I was thinking of is that the people there at the pool, they view that as a wishing well and not a freedom fountain. And so I just wonder, how many times do we do that? We wish he would do this for us. We wish this would happen. We wish, instead of coming to it going expectantly, like, no, he has freedom available that I need to grab a hold of.
And so the question that lingers in the air for all of us is, do you want to be made well? Do you want to move forward? Do you want to step into those things? And I'd just like us to break down some mindsets that may be blocking your forward movement. And our prayer is that the one that jumps out at you, you will rumble with this week, and you will ask God to show you where it's showing up. And you want to take it a step further, ask an accountability partner who will say, yeah, I do see this thinking in your life, and this is what it's costing you.
Yeah.
So
good. Yeah.
So what is the first mindset that you see here, Tammy?
Well, I think that we easily slip into a victim mindset, and that might be hard to hear. You might be like, I'm not there. I'm not thinking that. But sometimes it's subtle and sneaky, and we kind of get stuck in this place. Like one of the things that gets us stuck there is the question, why? I've seen this a lot. We get into a situation. It's like, why did this even happen to me? What can what can I possibly get out of this, and all of that kind of thing. But why leads us to in something or someone. And I have seen so many people, and even myself, spin our wheels with the why
Yeah.
and get stuck there. And I have found that it's like a rut, and you just stay in that rut and you have a hard time getting out because you're like, why? Why? I need to understand. But here's some questions for you. And that is, do you really get answers to why very often? And then where does that lead you when you're asking why repeatedly? I know for a lot of people, it leads to blaming others because it's their fault that I'm here, or blaming God, or blaming ourselves. I have found that the better question is actually how. How do I move through this? What is my next step? How can I overcome this? Is there a better way to do this? Those are all productive questions, ones that, and I want you to stop just for a second and even think in your mind. When you ask that question, how do I move through this? How do you feel? What shifts in your body, in your brain, in your desire to move forward? When you ask yourself, how do I get through this?
Because the how, it's that curiosity, it's that growth mindset. Like, I'm
Right.
willing to grow. What step could I take?
Yeah.
It's possibility.
There is freedom and power in the how. There is a rut with the why. So keep thinking how, or what next step, so that you can begin to shift and move forward.
When I think of what you're talking about, the why, I think that in the territory of why, when I've been there, why, not just blame happens there, but I think when we're in the victim thinking of why, I say, I can't. right? It partners with the why. I can't in this place.
Yeah.
And then when I'm in the how, you move from I can't to how can I, right?
Yes.
And we get so focused on what we can't do. And the truth is, you might not be able to do everything you would like to do, but what can you do still leads to forward movement. So this why, how shift is really important. The victim thinking also sounds like waiting for someone else to do it for us,
Yes.
right? Like I'm just a victim here. Somebody else isn't doing it for me. My husband isn't doing it. My children aren't doing it. My workplace, my boss never notices me. They don't see the leadership gift on my life. That's why I'm not going anywhere. You're waiting for someone else. That's still a victim mindset. And I think I want to give one disclaimer here, Tammy. What do you say to the person who immediately, right now, what they have is a sense of defensiveness that is bubbling up saying, Tammy, you don't really know what I've walked through. I actually am a victim. What do you say to that person right now?
100%, we don't know what you've walked through. And I have the deepest compassion for that. And lots of stuff happens to us that we need to sort through and process. And I am not proposing that you skip that. As a matter of fact, we're huge advocates for counseling to help you move through that. And there is grief that happens over the losses and all of that. What happened to you is not your fault. And if you get stuck in the why did it happen instead of the how do I move through this, you will stay stuck for far longer than is healthy for you.
Yeah.
And so I care about your health. We care about your health and your freedom.
Yeah, because you think the guy that was sitting at this Bethesda for 38 years, he had a reason too. He, on some levels, he probably was a victim, right?
Yeah.
He's a victim in his own body because, he was paralyzed.
Right.
Well, that's a really hard condition. That's a very real thing. So please don't hear us saying, pick yourself up by your bootstraps. This is if I'm a victim, then what?
Yeah.
If I'm a victim, what do I need to do to move forward? There can be a thinking that helps you heal, okay? But it does require your participation. That's what we're talking about.
And ladies, this is costly. I mean, I just feel like someone needs to hear out there. I've been a victim in my life, a victim of sexual abuse, of physical violence, and all of that. And a lot of healing is required. And at the same time, I know what it's like to get stuck in, why did you allow this to happen to me? And instead of that posture of, God, how in the heck are we going to get through this?
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about another mindset. There's another one here, and that is comparison or jealousy, right?
Yes.
They're very close. They're very close.
Mm-hmm.
The paralytic, this guy who'd been there for 38 years, he started out with, I don't have anybody. They all have somebody. They get down to the waters. And others always get there before me. This is a comparison mindset. You might have it in your life. I'm just going to say it as cleanly as I can. You have to step into your progress, not theirs. If they're training for a marathon and you're still trying to get off the couch, you are not training for a marathon yet. You're practicing getting around the blocks. Step into your own progress, not step into their progress.
Yes. And I always like to say, too, we're responsible for our own gifts and our own skills and knowledge, and we're not responsible to live anyone else's life. We're responsible to live ours. And so we just want to continue to encourage you to focus on what you have to give and not in comparison to anybody else. And I want to ask a hard question for you to rumble with, and that's, what are you getting out of focusing on their life? Would you get more out of focusing on what you have to offer to the world?
I had this lady who used to say when people would complain about being stuck and they would blame somebody in their life or a circumstance, and she would just say, how is that serving you?
Mhm.
And they would say, oh, well, I guess it isn't serving me. She goes, no, it must be serving you because you've been
Right.
serving up that excuse for some time. So how is it serving you?
Yes.
My excuse was I wanted to avoid spiritual warfare, right? That's what I said. I wanted to avoid it. And how was that serving me? Well, it was making me feel safe, and it was making me not have to be an active participant in the things God had called me to.
Yeah.
It left me more comfortable. That was how it was serving me. My comfort is how it served me. So
Yeah.
we're going to keep going through these mindsets, but just a couple scriptures. I can't remember where this one is. Do you remember, Tammy?
I don't remember off the top of my head, but go ahead.
I think it's in Thessalonians. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I don't remember the address. Make it your ambition to lead a quiet life and mind your own business. I love it. The Bible says MYOB. Okay. This is why we read the Bible. It's good.
And then the other one, pay careful attention to your own work, for then you will get the satisfaction of a job well done, and you won't need to compare yourself to anyone else. Galatians 6:4.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom.
It's about your own work. Okay, this is a quick one. Goldilocks thinking. You're waiting for the conditions in your life to look right, for the steps to look right. You're waiting for the perfect moment. It's never going to look right. I remember when we were thinking of having children, I'm not going to get here for a second. I remember my friend Cindy saying to me, listen, you're never going to think you're going to be able to afford it. It's
Right.
never going to look good on paper. Same principle here. Goldilocks thinking may be keeping you trapped. His thinking was, well, when the water is stirred up, right?
Yep.
Goldilocks thinking is also sometimes married to that scarcity thinking because we're waiting for it to just be right or for our quick moment because we believe that we just have a moment. They had their moment. And so we're waiting for our perfect moment. No, they got their moment because they took their step. They stepped into their own progress. Goldilocks is a fairy tale story. It is not a practice to live by.
Right. Yes.
So,
and
next one.
that can
Oh.
leave us to pity. This is our favorite topic, right?
Okay, just say it
No.
again because the word pity, just look
Pity.
at just pity.
Pity.
I think we choose it because it sounds pretty. Pity. Pity. Isn't that a weird word? I mean, just say it in your car right now. Please do it for me, girls.
Right.
Just say pity.
Yeah.
If you are delaying because you're like, these girls are so weird, please just say the word pity. It's weird. Okay, pity. Let's talk about
Yes.
pity today.
Yeah. And this can be a hard one. I mean, all of them have not been comfortable, right? But pity is one of those things that's like, what is the difference between pity and actually having empathy and stuff for yourself or for others? And there is a big difference because one says, I care about what you're walking through and I can empathize with that. I've had similar circumstances or whatever. But pity is one that actually causes us to help someone dig a pit. Pity. We're digging a pit and having a hard time getting out. So that's why the whole pity party thing and all of that stuff, right?
And pity parties are rarely well attended. I'm just saying.
Oh, I was thinking of the whole, that we actively choose wilderness sometimes, but I like to think active participation over passive pity. So same thing, you're like active participation in your own life
Yeah.
over passive pity, because passive pity is this thing where you're sitting there wallowing in your stuff,
feeling sorry
right?
for yourself
Yep.
on some levels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's pity's tricky because sometimes it's married to very difficult circumstances that we feel like we are warranted to feel sorry for ourselves here. And I think that there is a moment for you to have self-compassion for whatever you're walking through.
Yeah.
But again, just like with the victim thinking, you have to at some point have something that begins to say, rather than pity, me staying in this mindset, the fresh sound for me to take new ground in my life is, instead of pity, I can say, what's next? I can say, how do I get into progress by participating instead of throwing pity parties? There's a lot of P words, Oh, poison. Remember that song? Anyways, yes, pity is poison.
And Sunny, have you ever felt like you've gotten punked by pity? Do you know what I mean by that?
No. So punked by pity. I was thinking of the show immediately, like getting punked. So
Right.
what picture comes to your mind with that?
Well, in the beginning, doesn't pity feel like a nurturing friend?
Mm.
And we find ourselves kind of sucked in. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, no, now you're contributing to one another's demise, to our stuckness, to our sickness, to our stall. So, what felt like a compassionate friend now is actually turning on us and helping us to stay stuck and stalled. And
Yeah.
yeah,
And you know, it's funny. I mean, in that, what you just said, getting punked, and when you're talking about it feeling like a nurturing friend, you might need to check your circle. This is where we were talking about the great multitude. You might actually have a circle of people around you who are helping you with pity. And the pity parties are when you guys rally together and you all feel sorry for each other. Or maybe there's one friend in your group, you all talk and help her stay stuck in pity because of what happened to her. It started out as compassion, but now you could be an accomplice in her stuckness. Come on, let's bring some wild hope to that, ladies.
yeah,
And I'm not saying you go in to ourself or to another and say, again, I'm going to say it, pick yourself up by your bootstraps or put on your big girl panties. But you could ask them a question, a disruptive question, just like Jesus did. Are you ready to get well now? Are you ready to take a step now? Because I love you enough to tell you this isn't serving you. And you might need to tell yourself that, right? Stuart Smalley moment in the mirror. I'm good
yes,
enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, I'm not sitting in my pity party anymore.
yeah,
It's not serving me. So let's also very quickly, we just got two more here, but complacency. I think that's a mindset.
yeah.
And the funny thing about complacency, Tammy, is a lot of people call it contentment.
Mm,
Okay. And they say, I don't really need to move forward. I am totally good. I love the status quo life. It is serving me very well. I have no dreams. I have no goals, and I don't have dreams and goals, and that serves me well. I am completely content. And I would challenge you to say that maybe actually you have a complacency mindset, because complacency and contentment are very different.
yeah. Well, and you can look at it one of both ways, but let me give you a definition of complacency. And it says feeling a quiet pleasure or security, often while unaware of some potential danger or defect. So that satisfaction, that smug, like I've arrived. I don't need to do anything else. I can just sit here. And
That sounds like
there's
pride
also there's pride.
and ego a little, right?
Yeah.
Like I've
And
already
sometimes
arrived.
there's apathy too with complacency that says, I've got it. I don't need to do anything else. I'm okay with just being here. And yet, if you have a growth mindset, contentment says, I don't have to strive to get there. I don't have to prove myself. I can be grateful for where I'm at currently. And as God calls me forward, I'm ready to take those steps.
Yeah. Yeah. Because when did contentment be a place that we decided was a camp that meant we didn't have to
Right.
have forward movement? Contentment and forward movement are, I think of that whole, I mean, we got into it a few weeks ago, but the boundaries for me have fallen in good places. It's me saying, I am content with my portion, with what God has given me to be entrusted with. I am content not trying to look at someone else's stuff. But you might know that it's not contentment if you are stuck, if you are complacent. So you get tricky with that mindset.
Yep.
So
Yep.
pray about it. Let the Lord lead you more in that, because we're moving on here. Also, safety. Let's just acknowledge this is all of these kind of funnel into this. But sometimes, honestly, the sidelines just feel safer. And for whatever reason, and I would just ask this one question: do you truly want something new in your life? Or are maybe you just saying that because it's trending? Because forward movement, like I'm going to move forward, I want more, it's what everybody is saying. So, are you just feeling pressured to say that you want something else? I mean, you got to ask yourself that real question and answer it honestly. But I mean, I think sometimes we want to stay on the sideline. I did.
Well, yeah.
I wanted to stay
And
there.
doesn't it feel safer, right? You don't know what's out there. You don't know what that's like, or you might fail in front of everyone or whatever. So, yeah, it feels safer. And I was thinking earlier, I was like, oh gosh, like barns were made for temporary shelter and protection. But man, fields are made and wide open spaces are made for freedom and thriving and life and living, right? And so it's like, get in the game. Don't
So
be
what do you
content
mean?
with the
What made you go to a barn? So we were talking
Oh,
safety. So are you saying like somebody is sitting in a barn? Is that what you mean?
yeah. It just kind of that picture of thinking of that shelter and everything, that safety, right? Like it's an enclosed space. It feels comfortable. It's like you go there to rest and shelter and all of that.
And to clean horse poop out of the stalls.
Right, right. But it's temporary.
Yeah.
It wasn't made to live in.
Yeah. And I
It
don't want to
was
ride a horse in a barn.
right. You can't.
No.
It's cramped. And it comes to my mind because I work with horses too. And so, it just popped into my head of just that whole idea of the confinement of it, even though we
Yeah.
think that it's, safe.
Yeah. And I think that was my tent or dwelling place,
Right.
whatever it is that you're going to. I thought it was such a good point of, I wanted people to stick with that and not fly by the picture you're painting here, because we're always inviting you to the wide open, spacious life. We're not inviting you to build barn living and decorate your barn. And I know barn weddings and barn events are trending, or your barn photos, but for goodness sakes.
But you have the wedding in the barn and then you go live your life.
Yeah. And if you stay in the barn, there's teaching for another day. But if you're still living your marriage in the barn, that might be the problem. Okay. Okay. Well, with that, let's see what happens next as we're kind of bringing this to a close here today. So Jesus had asked the question of the guy who's sitting there for 38 years. He asks him, "Do you want to be made well?" And we heard his response, "Sir, I have nobody." And he gives all of his excuses. And this is what happens next. Jesus, in response to his excuses, says, "Rise, take up your bed and walk." And immediately the man was made well. He took up his bed and he walked. And that day happened to be the Sabbath. The Jews therefore said to him, "Is it the Sabbath? Is it not lawful for you to carry your bed?" He answered them, "He who made me well said to me, 'Take up your bed and walk.' They asked him, 'Who is the man that said that to you?' But the one who was healed, this man, he did not know who it was, because Jesus had withdrawn. Afterward, Jesus finds him in a temple and says to him, 'See, you have been made well. Sin no more, lest a worse thing come upon you.' The man departed, told the Jews it was Jesus who had made him well." The story ends. So let's just talk to this as we land the plane here. What do you see happening here, Tammy?
Oh, I think that Jesus is calling his attention to see what I've already done for you. Stop and take it in. You're holding on to a mindset and a history that is not serving you moving forward. And isn't that so true of all of us, that we can bring that history with us, thinking that we need it to inform our decisions now, when Jesus is saying, "Look, pay attention. I healed you. We can do it without that burden." And hear the fresh sound, take the new ground. It's okay. It's for freedom that you've been set free.
I also think it's interesting Jesus didn't do the work for him.
Right.
And he didn't, if it got hard, he tells him to pick up his mat and walk. He didn't do any of those steps for him. And then the grace of being met again later, because how many of us take the step and then we took the step, but we still feel stuck. And Jesus meets him again. And it's like he gives him the invitation again there. It's like, hang on, you already picked up your mat. See, I've made you well.
Yep.
Maybe you need that assurance today. Maybe you already took the step, ladies. And maybe you just need the reminder. See, Jesus has helped you take the step. See, you have taken some forward movement in your life. Keep going.
Yes.
Keep going. Walk in the freedom I've been setting you free for. Also, just a couple things. What I saw there is, I hear your life is no longer defined by what held you. And you're not stuck here. I want you to hear that, ladies. I want you to go and to live forward, not backwards. This is an invitation. Jesus will not force you. Jesus invites you, but he won't force you. Your forward movement, that thing you're being called to, I don't know what it is, but it requires your participation. You are not a mannequin, and it will not happen by default. It will be because you made a decision to step into your own progress. And that means that you will become a woman who has a mind to do the work.
Yes. And we're rooting for you. We're praying for you. Yes.
Yeah, just take a step. Faith often it looks like you taking action before you have clarity. Tammy and I, we still don't have full clarity on what the heck Wild Hope Rising is. Girls, we're just, I'm not saying we're fully making it up as we go along, but we kind of are. Yes, and.
Yeah.
But take a step. And can you imagine if we did? Just right wherever you are. I want you to apply this into your life and allow the Lord to bring vision. Can you imagine if we as women stopped camping in the wilderness and we started walking through it? Can you imagine if we measured faithfulness instead of outcomes, right? Like just the faithfulness, like I just took a step and it's not in comparison to anyone else's. I just did it. Can you imagine if progress became personal instead of performative, right? This is just between you and God. And can you imagine, ladies, if we stopped waiting for permission or for somebody to come help us move, and we instead responded to the invitation that we have all been given? Ladies, I know I say this often. I promise you, it's not like a cliche statement. The truth is, it would change the world. Because just you can change the world around you. You can change the world within you. You can change the world in your workplace. So yes, in fact, if we did this, if we decided to step into our own progress, we would change the world and we would bring wild hope along with us. And I don't know about you, but that's what I'm here for.
Yes,
that's what I'm
here for that too. Let's go.
So ladies, pick up your mat, take the step, and
step into your own progress. Step into your own progress. Step into your own progress.
Okay, girls, we're putting this crazy cake on the podcast. We were trying to nail that in sync, but the truth is, I can't have the same progress as Tammy. We just proved it.
Right.
Step into your own dang progress. Let's go. See you again next week. My prayer is freedom will become your story and redemption your song. Now it's time to take hope-filled action. And if today's episode spoke to you, please don't keep it to yourself. Like, subscribe, and share, and help us grow this community. Thanks for listening to Wild Hope Rising. Until next time, keep stepping boldly into the spacious life you were created for.